noticed that you couldn't be in touch with me today. Don't worry, I know that you're very, very busy. And so I'm just going to explain the class for today. If you have questions or doubts about today's class, please do not hesitate to type on Edmodos in the comment so that I can look at them and, see if I can help you. Okay, so I remember I let this homework to you. I hope you did it. If you didn't do it, please pause the video so that you can do it. You can analyze it before we continue. Okay, because today I'm going to give you the answers. We have been talking the other class about some functions in language for learners. Okay, so remember that in this we are in module number 3, which is called managing the teaching and learning process. As I was explaining you the other day, in this module, we're going to look at what happens in the real test in at the moment of the classes. So it is more than theoretical, it's more practical, because you need to remember, you need to look and compare your experiences with instructions, with the topics, the concepts, but at the same time with the activities that you normally do in your classes. Okay, so we were talking that, for example, there are different functions in that the students can do. For example, greetings at the beginning. When you say hello and they answer to you, or the other way around, they are greeting somehow. That's one function. Apologizing. Imagine that they do something bad. They say, "Oh, teacher, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." So when they say that, they are apologizing. They are using that function. Explaining, when they have an exposition, for example. Checking answers. You make them to work in pairs and then they start talking and checking their own answers. Okay, and so on. Okay, so most of the times we were talking in the analysis, most of the times mm, teachers' functions or the language that teacher uses are very similar to the one uh, sorry, is very similar to the one of the students, because they also clarify, they also check answers, they also answer, they also ask, and so on. Obviously, most of the times, for example, teachers give more checking instructions, definitions than students, right? That's like normal day in life of a teacher. But students can do it too. They can do it too without any problem. Okay, so you had this for homework. You had to analyze the sentences that are here. This is a conversation extract, and what you had to do was to put the correct function in the chart. Okay, here we had an example. My next door neighbor, he made much noisy. Okay, so in this case, the use or the function that the students are taking part is introducing and extending. Introducing because Maria is starting the conversation, so she's like kind of giving an argument for beginning a conversation. And extending because, as you can see before the periods, it said my next door neighbor, I can talk to him. So in this case, she didn't say that, but she extended. She said something that she thought it was possible, it was important to say. That in this case is be he make much noisy. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the answers, teachers, and as I told you, let me remind you that if you have any question, please write your comment on Edmodo. Okay, now in number 2, you don't want to say anything because gets angry. Me do the same thing. So in this case, it's adding opinion. Why? Because she's saying, I don't have to say that anything because you get angry. And agreeing because at the same time he says like, I don't have to do that because there will be consequences. So they have an agreement in this moment. Okay. Number 3, it's prompting and at the same time self-correcting. Make upset. Okay, why prompting? Because they continue it with the word, with the sentence, and self-correcting because, as you can see, She realized she made a mistake, but she corrected immediately almost. Okay. Number four is repeating and confirming. Why? It says, yeah, make neighbor upset. So he, sorry, she's somehow repeating what Maria said, and at the same time is confirming. Okay, because she wants an answer. Uh-huh, in this case, okay? Number five, to say something, of course, like everyone. This is adding opinion, like everyone. You're giving extra information that maybe it's not required or you were not asked to say, right? Number six, no, know that. Okay, so in this case, the person is hesitating and disagreeing. Why? Because he say know that, so that means that the people doesn't want to do that or doesn't want to say that. So in this case, it's you don't have an agreement. And hesitating at the beginning says, like, well, you don't know the answer, right? Number seven, check. So you want to clarify that. Check, really? Uh-huh. And finally, number eight, yeah, learn what I do when coming. So in this case, it's explaining because you're telling them, know it, learned, clarifying because you're saying, yeah, like you want to confirm, you want to clarify, you want to say what you're saying is true, and you want to convince them. Okay, so these are the functions. I hope you don't have any question, teachers. I hope you did the homework. And well, I have already explained that. And now let's go with the most important part, that is the sample test. Once we have seen the functions, let's go ahead with the sample test. I'm going to read the instructions and later on, I want you to answer. For questions from 1 to 7, match the example of learning language with the function listed from A to H. There is one extra option which you don't need to use. Okay, so as you can see, you have 8 options, but you only have 7 questions, 7 statements. Okay, so those are the functions: expressing doubt, expressing support, etc. And you have the statement. What you need to do is to match them. Okay, teacher? So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do it. Remember, if you finish before the time is consuming, you can advance the video so that you don't waste that much time. Okay, but basically you have 10 minutes to do it. Start now. 10 minutes. Okay, teachers, time's over. So now let's check your answers. Obviously, I'm not going to do the revision as usual because this time you weren't here, but I'm gonna give you the answers and we're going to analyze it later. Okay, so here we say let's look at the website first. Is that okay? So in this case, what they are doing is negotiating. They are trying to say if his or her classmates agree with him or her. Okay, number two, I think your answer should be he's in, not he's so. It should be the present perfect. So in this case, it is highlighting a grammatical structure. So in this case, they are emphasizing in the use of present perfect. Number three, okay, so he get up, he had a shower. No, he had breakfast, then he had a shower, then he got dressed, right? Now I'm ready to write it. And so on. So he's organizing ideas, right? What he's saying what he's going to write, but he's organizing those ideas. Okay. I'm not sure. I really don't think it's right. So in this case, it's A, expressing doubt because he's saying like, I'm not sure. This is a keyword. Remember, keywords are very important in these exercises because from them you can realize if those are correcting, giving suggestions, etc. Number five, I think they shouldn't allow mobile phones in school because they can disturb the class. So in this case, it's giving reasons that the person is saying that the cell phones, it's not a good idea to have cell phones. So he is like recommending. He's giving a reason that you are not allowed to have a cell phone because they are distractors. And finally, number seven, no, sorry, number six, that's a good idea. So obviously expressing support. Can also be agreement, but in this case, doesn't have agreeing. Okay, and finally, when I was in school last summer, I have tried I tried snowboarding for the first time. So reformulating in this case. So the person was doubting about something, but then he reformulate the same thing, and now he got it right. Okay, so the one that we didn't use was F, requesting clarification. Okay, there. What? How can I be? How can it be like that? Requesting clarification, like, is that right, teacher? Mm-hmm. Do I really have to do that, teacher? So I am requiring that the teacher tells me if I need to do that. Okay, very good. So I hope this is clear, teachers. I hope that you don't have any problems about functions. Remember, teachers and students, we always use functions in the classroom, but obviously, uh, we use more frequently ones than another ones, and so on. Okay, so let's go with the next topic, and that is called. I am projecting it. Wait a second, please. It's rather heavy. That's it. Okay, I just want to remind you that we are in module number 3, managing the teaching and learning process. And now we're going to go to unit number 3, categorizing learners' mistakes. Okay, first we need to remember what mistakes are. Okay, so mistakes are either errors or slips. Errors are usually caused by L1 interference and the stage of learner's development. Okay, so remember that an error obviously is a type of a mistake, but it's like very, very external and internal somehow. Because what happens in this case, there is a lot of interference between their mother language with the second language. That is the main reason. Or maybe they are located in a group that doesn't match with his or her level. Okay, so let's imagine, or this comes to my mind when you are in a primary school and you didn't have any class of English. You didn't. This is a governmental class, let's say, some a school from the government. So then you move to a particular the private school, right? A private school, and then you have English classes. Obviously, you are in secondary, but the secondary gives English a little bit advanced, but because have students from previous primary and they know English, so they wanted to continue like that. But obviously, the student doesn't know anything about English, and maybe that's why he commits a lot of errors. He makes a lot of errors because of this problem. Okay, that is not the correct level. Okay, and remember, sleeps are caused by distraction, sickness, or lack of concentration. Okay, so remember that sleep is when the students know or you know that he knows, but in this case, he made a mistake. I don't know how. I don't know why. Maybe because he was distracted, he didn't care, he was sick, like maybe pronunciation, but maybe because the person has a cough and he cannot say the words properly, and so on. Uh-huh. Or they just don't have interest in the topic and they just speak just because and things like that. So sleep is a mistake, obviously that can be corrected, but and they even most of the times they realize they have self correction. They whenever they realize they are making mistakes with the sleeps, that they correct themselves. Mhm. Mistakes result in problems of accuracy, form of the language, or also appropriacy suitable for the context. What is this? Like they can have grammatical errors. Okay, that they say, I am, for example, I am love you instead of I love you. Then that's a mistake. I am love you. They confuse. This is an accuracy mistake. Or appropriacy, as we said, is not from the context, right? Like maybe they say a bad word and they are not allowed to say bad words. Or maybe they are talking or they are doing a role play in a meeting and they say like very a lot of slangs or a vocabulary that is not formal. So then the context is not good in this case. All right, very good. So we're going to say how we can categorize learners' mistakes. So here we have the categories. As I told you, inaccuracy and pronunciation. Okay, for example, a mistake from accuracy can be pronunciation. There was a terrible flood, they say, for example. There was a terrible flood. And no, the pronunciation is flood. There was a terrible flood. So obviously incorrect pronunciation because it's because it's flood and they say flood instead of flood. So that's a pronunciation mistake. Okay, another accuracy mistake, as I told you, it's grammar. For example, we swim in the lake every summer. He have taken more than 100 photos last week. Okay, the next example. News are reported 24 hours a day. The next example, I'm pleased that you are interested of this story. Do you come from the Canada? You see, the three sentences have many mistakes. The first one obviously cannot be swum because has to be with swim. We swim in the lake every summer because we have a routine and it's represented, remember, in present simple. He have taken, no, he has taken. Remember the auxiliary for he is has in present perfect. Mhm. Um, or he took in this case because of the time tense last week. He took more than 100 photos last week. Okay, news are reported 24 hours a day. This is incorrect because news can never be in plural. News is an uncountable noun. News is reported 24 hours a day. I'm pleased that you are interested interested in the story. Do you come from Canada? So there is a that is extra. The Canada, no. Okay, so what is the description? Wrong, incorrect verb from auxiliary verb, as I told you. Use as part of the wrong tense, wrong subject, verb, agreement, wrong, incorrect subject, verb, agreement, the wrong, incorrect dependent preposition, unnecessary article, as I told you, the preposition, etc. Okay. Now let's go with the next one. Inappropriate style register. Give me a cup of coffee. using a cafe to order a coffee. So it's inappropriate register. The context doesn't have to match because it's a formal situation. If you say so, then it will be very rude, right? Give me a cup of coffee right now. No, like, excuse me, could you bring a cup of coffee? Or I like to have a cup of coffee. It's okay. There is another one that is, for example, lexical and accuracy, inaccuracy. In this case, that is lexical. My grandfather is a senior man. Okay, you cannot say that. Okay, you can say my grandfather is a senior, for example, only, or my grandfather is retired, and so on. So, but not that adjective. So they the part in this case is the adjective. Spelling. The leaves were a beautiful color. No, leaves with VES, no FS. Remember that adjectives, or sorry, nouns that end with F, like knife, has to be with VES, no F. All right. So in this case, this is incorrect. Yeah, you see here in the example, plural leaves. Inaccuracy pronunciation. Where does he live? For example, that they say, where does he live? No, you need to have like the pronunciation. Where does he live with a question mark? And there is no full stop. Okay, very good. Now we know that there are oral and written mistakes. Okay, not all of them are speaking, not all of them are written mistakes. They can have it combined, such as in this conversation. They write it and then they say it. So there is a problem here. All right. So for example, it says student A, what you have for this one? I have the supermarket. He wants food and drink. Yes, supermarket. And number two, I think it is his birthday, but he talks for the birthday of friend also. Yes, friend's birthday. He's 16. 60. I think they are friends in the school. No, 16 as me and you. Sorry, no, 60 as me and you. 16 and no 60. You speak bad. That's no kind. Number three, I have, and so on. So as you can say, the ones that are in parentheses is because of pronunciation. But in the written stuff, they also made a mistake. Okay. So I'm going to explain you very, very quickly some of these mistakes. What have you done? What you have for this one? The utterance unit of a speech. Remember, whenever we see this word, utterance means that the unit of a speech, the word, the sentence itself, is mixed two, and it's an example of grammatical inaccuracy. For example, what do you have for this one? What do you have? So it is a grammar mistake. It's inaccuracy. Okay, another mistake that we saw in this small dialogue, he talks for the birthday of friend. It has a prepositional mistake because for is incorrect. The possessive adjective is his. So he talks his birthday. For his birthday, not for the birthday, for his birthday is missing. And the phrase the birthday of friend should be constructed using the possessive s, his friend's birthday. Okay, as me and you, the adverb as is used incorrectly in place of the preposition like me and you. We cannot say as in this case. Remember that as is more for ideas. As I told you, and so on. And in this case, for people, we use more like you and me, or me and you. 16, no 60. It's a pronunciation mistake as student A didn't say the person's age correctly. In this case, he's saying that he has 60, not 6. Sorry, that he has 16 instead of 60 and so on. So be careful, complicate. You speak bad. This is an inappropriate language for one student to say to another student. It's impolite. So yes, it's not recommendable to ask our students to do so. Maybe you can teach them like to say, "Hey, I can help you with your English," or "I see that you make some mistake, but I can help you. I am your friend," and so on. So it's very, very impolite. Okay, besides, it's a grammatical accuracy mistake as the adverb is incorrect. It should be badly because we have a verb. So it needs to be an adverb. Okay, that's not kind or not kind or no kind. In this uterus, the student has used an incorrect prefix to make the adjective kind. Negative, unkind. So we don't say no kind, we say unkind. And so on. Okay, so just to remind you, teachers, that there are many mistakes categorized into this: pronunciation mistakes, pronunciation accuracy, grammatical, register, which is basically formal and informal, lexical, the words that they don't match with the sentences, spelling, they misspell the words, they have some mistakes, they omit letters and so on, and pronunciation. Those are some of them. We check them here. For example, this is a grammatical problem. Prepositional, we didn't check that in the category, but now you know that there are prepositional mistakes. Okay, we have also pronunciation mistakes. We have the inappropriate, which is the register, and the accuracy at the same time. And in this case, the lexis, because it's not no kind, it's unkind. Okay, and now let's go with the most important part, that is the sample test. For questions from 1 to 7, match the learner's mistakes with the areas of grammar listed A from A to D. You will need to use some of the options more than once. We have here the areas of grammar: adverbs, articles, verb forms, and prepositions. Okay, and we have here the learner's mistakes. You need to match them with the correct mistake. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do it, teachers. Go ahead, and then we will check. Remember, if you finished earlier, you can advance the video so that you don't waste that much time. Okay, teachers. Okay, teachers, time's up. I hope you could answer it. I know sometimes it's rather difficult, but I know that you did very well. So I'm gonna send you the answers now. Okay, the first one is a prepositional mistake. Sorry, an article mistake because it says my sister wants to be dentist. So we need to have the article a dentist when she grows up. In number two, the mistake is C verb form because it says, if I seen him, I would have told him. If I had seen him, I would have told him. Or the second conditional. If I saw him, I would tell him. So that will depend on the context, but basically it's because of verb forms. Number three, he's very keen of becoming a musician. So in this case, it's a preposition. Okay, he's very keen on becoming a musician. My sister and her husband always arrived lately. So it's an adverb. Always arrived late, no lately. Mhm. Number five, I'm looking for accommodation to live on next year. So in this case, it's a preposition. I'm looking for accommodation to live in next year. Live in. Mhm. Letter C, one of the students were late for class today. It's another one, the verb forms. One of the students was late because we're talking about one. So it has to be one person only. And finally, I really want to visit the Oxford University next week. So in this case, an article. I really want to visit Oxford, um, the Oxford University the next week. The next, because it's coming. Remember, when I say next year, next month, nothing happens. But when it's something like very, very near, you need to have the article. I really want to visit the university the next year. Okay? Questions or problems, teachers, about this? Doubts, questions? Okay, remember, if you have any doubt while doing during the video or while doing the activities, send me a message in Edmodo so that I can read you and I can give you more examples or I can explain you more in the next class. Okay, so remember, we have a meeting on Monday from 4 to 6, sorry, from 6 to 8. So I hope you can attend it. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for your attention and see you next time. Bye.